The company is considering two separate offerings on the T0 platform. The first would potentially be a digital dividend available to current holders of the BYON stock as a specific record date, while the second would be an offering to new investors interested in owning a share of the intellectual property. In both cases, our goal is for the token to provide a revenue share on the omni-channel revenue generated by the brand, along with loyalty benefits across the BYON platform. Number 3, we're going to be building what's called a LifeChain. We see an unprecedented opportunity to leverage T0's blockchain technology and the BuyBuy assets to build the first ledger that records all significant life events, starting from birth records, medical records, and life milestones to educational records, financial products, insurance, and purchases. This initiative, which we'll be calling the LifeChain, will integrate the consumer's financial and digital assets into a single, secure digital wallet supported and driven by Salesforce and its Agentforce technology. This acquisition, combined with BYON's existing portfolio of assets and investments, drives us toward our mandate of operating a profitable company focused on traditional revenue and earnings growth. We are leveraging our belief in the evolution of tokenizing assets and the critical importance of securing data related to your home and your life. It's a lot to take in this morning, and I apologize that I needed to read the formalities of that, but very simply stated, BYON has acquired, is in the process of acquiring, has signed definitive asset purchase agreement to acquire the BuyBuy intellectual property from Dream on Me. And quite frankly, the genesis of all of this is when you go back and you look at the history of Bed Bath & Beyond and the founders set it up, it was their goal to not only sell goods and services, but to really focus on honing in on life events. And when we have really studied where that brand has been and where it is today and where it needs to go, we felt very strongly that BuyBuy, one of the most significant life events, needed to be part of what we would call that life chain. And over time, it is our goal to develop that life chain into far more than just baby. But this opportunity gives us the ability to do that. It is contemplated that this transaction would close on or before March 25th, 2025. Dream on Me, the seller of this intellectual property through its BBBY acquisition company, will continue to operate the BuyBuy website until that point. We have removed the Baby and Beyond brand from our website and have placed just the moniker of BuyBuy. There are no hot links and there is no product as our team works to integrate the products and offerings and our American-based vendors onto that platform. I think the piece that's most exciting for me is that our company BYON has really started to spend a lot of time on all of the Medici assets individually with all the companies that are part of that. While Pelion has taken on the legal responsibility of managing the portfolio and the disclosures that go with them, we have decided to take a more active role in engaging. And so the T0 relationship, of which we own a significant stake, is really a vehicle of choice for us. We believe that this particular, possible two transactions will display the efficacy of what we believe is an unbelievable platform. And as a reminder, T0 is one of two companies with a special purpose broker dealer license, which we think is phenomenal. I'm now going to go ahead and open it up to questions. Before we get started with questions and answers, I want to be clear that I will do my best to answer questions. We will not be answering questions about the fourth quarter. We will not be answering questions about any other part of the business. And if for any reason any of the questions start to detour off into topics that are not related to specifically this transaction, I will politely end that call and move on to the next. If you have an interest in asking a question today, please feel free to hit your request button. It is very important that you do that. That's the way you get in to the queue. So we will open up the call to the first request. Go ahead, sir. Go ahead, sir. Okay. A&W, if you'll go ahead and take your mute button off, you've been cleared to speak.
Thanks, Marcus. Appreciate it. Can you expand a little bit further on the tokenization side of what you're going to be potentially distributing? Is it, when you say a dividend, it sounds to me like it's a dividend for current holders who would then own a piece of the potential business, but it's not necessarily a dividend that, or a security or a token that's going to be distributing cash flow. Am I right or wrong on that?
So let's clarify that. Thank you for that question. So I'm a firm believer in this tokenization process, at least to really advance widespread adoption, that consumers really need to understand what the benefits are of tokenization. And I think pretty much everybody on this phone understands the general principles behind it, but we've seen a lot of different solutions be provided over the years. And in a lot of cases, people, don't necessarily see tangible assets. What we're exploring heavily and deeply with T0 is the tokenization in two separate tranches of the intellectual property that we are purchasing from Dream on Me. So our company, BYON, will pay $5 million to accumulate all of the assets and intellectual property associated with Bye Bye Baby. It will then take a portion of that 100% in one tranche and issue it a digital dividend to individual shareholders as of a current record date of BYON shares. What they will get in exchange for that is they will hold a portion of ownership of the intellectual property, and coming with that will be a revenue share. Not a royalty, I guess people could call it that, but a revenue share that will be a derivative of all online and omni-channel revenue that is generated. In addition to the revenue share that's there will be a separate subclass of our loyalty program in which those holders will receive incremental benefits across the entire platform. I'm a firm believer that tokenization, at least from BYON's perspective, needs to come with either a asset, a very firm and appreciating asset, and or an asset that kicks out cash flow. And so it is our expectation that as the company comes on board here in March and it gets moving, that on a quarterly basis, those holders of that said token, and that token would be issued to shareholders of a record date of BYON, would now own a portion of the IP and would receive revenue share from all of the revenue that is generated both online and in stores. The second tranche would be issued not to holders specifically, but to those interested or those excited about investing in singularly that asset. And they would get the same benefits. They would get a portion of the cash flow. The amount that we will offer, for example, this is for illustrative purposes only. If, for example, we decided to tokenize to the community an opportunity for them to buy 20% of 100% of the intellectual property, we know that the purchase price for Dream on Me is $5 million for 100%. We would then offer through the tokenization process $1 million of tokens related to 20% of that asset. Those token holders would then trade on the T0 platform, and then they would own a 20% of the rev share associated with the royalty. So, for example, it is our goal to take 100% of the revenue, attach a percentage of revenue, and whether that be 1/4% or 0.5% of whatever the revenue is, those 100% owners of that IP would share in their ratable portion. So I'm a firm believer, again, Dan, that there should be an asset and an ownership of the asset, and there should be cash flow that comes with it.
If I could, Marcus, one more question, then I'll go back in the queue. The business today, the website today is live. Is it generating revenue currently, and how are you going to, move into that change, after the cutoff date?
Yeah.
And what synergies exist operationally between your other businesses and this business? Thank you.
So, based on the diligence that we've done thus far, it looks as though the Bye Bye Baby website is doing approximately $30 to $35 million a year in online business. And the assortment of vendors on there are probably, much smaller than it needs to be. And our organization has been working with American-based companies, the companies that drove really the launch of Bye Bye Baby years ago, and we're part of that fabric. It is our goal over the next 52 days, 50 some odd days, between now and March 25th, that our tech team will be building a very simple platform. And that platform will take advantage of our current supplier Oasis. That's how our vendors and our products come in and out of the websites. And that on that day, we will have transitioned that website over. The thing I think we love most about this transaction is that we believe right out of the rip, this transaction can have positive contribution margin. What I mean by that is you take all the revenue that the site generates, you look at the cost of goods to the product, that's your gross profit, and then you look at all the costs associated with delivering that product, those are called the frictionals, and it would lead to contribution margin. We look at contribution margin as a major driver in our business to reaching profitability. And we think this particular asset will not only increase web traffic, will not only give Amy Sullivan, the CEO of Kirkland's, and the Kirkland's team the ability to either incorporate it inside of the Bed Bath stores or do it on a standalone, but we believe we'll be able to see positive contribution margin, in our opinion, by no later than the third quarter. I think the ramp up of revenue, I think everybody's got to temper their expectations. For us, it's, across the entire enterprise, the amount of revenue we're doing at this moment in time is not as important as the level of profitability that the revenue comes with. And so I would expect that business to onboard, we would get a stabilization, and then we would hit the go button from there. Thank you, Dan. I appreciate it. John, your line has been pressed open. John, your line is now open. John, you'll have to take your mute button off. John, you're live. Go ahead. John. Okay, we're going to move on to the next speaker requested. John, your mute button's going on and off. I'm going to give you a couple more seconds. Okay. Sunshine, your mic is now live. You'll need to unmute your mic. John, your mute mic is now live. Okay. Folks, for those of you that have made a request to speak, please be prepared to do so. I've opened up another line, A.
Morning, Marcus. Thank you for hosting the space. Just a quick question on timing. If this was kind of planned out long term, or if this opportunity kind of just came up in the near future. And then I do have a follow-up.
I'm not really quite sure what the question is.
Yeah, just I guess to explain, Bye Bye Baby Bed Bath have been kind of dormant for a little bit now. Just wondering on, excuse me, the timing of this announcement.
Well, I'm not quite sure that comment is factual. Bed Bath and Beyond has been active as a website for since August of 2023. And Bye Bye Baby has been active for about a year now. And so I don't necessarily follow the dormant concept, but we started communications not too long ago with Dream on Me, which is a wonderful manufacturer of baby goods and products. They were the purchaser of the Bye Bye Baby asset from the bankrupt estate. And we felt that the Bye Bye Baby brand really needed to be back together with the Bed Bath and Beyond brand, both from an online perspective, but from an in-store perspective. And when we completed our investment in Kirkland's and started really talking to that management team about the product offering and the ways to drive more traffic, and we started talking to our web team about ways to drive more traffic to Bed Bath and to really start to think about the baby space, it became more interesting. I would say that this really started to become interesting when we started to dig into the possibilities around the tokenization of assets. And the more that we started working with T0, the more we started to understand the value and, quite frankly, the simplicity of taking a single asset, one that people may have an interest in owning a piece of, and understanding how to make that acquisition, and then to work with T0 on how to bring that to life in a very different way. I think secondarily, the shareholders of Beyond have been very patient. It's been a very difficult 12 months. The stock has had a rough ride. And as we march towards our path to profitability and we march towards understanding who we want to be when we grow up, which is right now, we needed to start to close the loop on a lot of things. And the product offering and the assortment was one of them, and the tokenization of those assets were another.
Awesome. Thank you for that, Marcus.
Yes.
Last question. Just wondering if the date of record, has that been announced, or is that to be determined?
That date of record has not been announced. The board of directors, the management team, and myself will be discussing that here, along with David Goon, who is our leader at T0. But it should be, in our opinion, within a very short distance from here.
Awesome. And just a closing remark: are you looking for additional partners, or is this going to be driven internally with the Beyond team?
Partners in what sense?
Potential external partners outside of Beyond and T0.
In terms of ownership?
Synergy opportunities. Logistics.
Yeah, in terms of ownership, it's my goal that that Beyond maintain itself as the majority holder of the Bye Bye Baby intellectual property. It is also our goal to have our current Beyond holders own a piece of it as well outside of their holdings in Beyond. And it is also our goal to allow this offering to be made available to other folks who, quite frankly, deserve to have a chance. And whether they were previous, customers of Bye Bye Baby or previous owners of Bed Bath, we want to make sure that it's available. And we're establishing a value for that share, and we want to make sure that's available to everybody. In terms of partnering on the platform itself, there are some significant tech partners that are helping us. We have engaged with Vercel, which is really a front-end technology company that does amazing work. And as they begin to transform the site experience across our other websites, which need it desperately, they'll be a part of our process on Bye Bye Baby as well. And then Salesforce, with our recent launch, has become a huge part of our overall business. And they'll be integrated not only on the Bye Bye Baby website with different technology, but they'll be integrated into the blockchain as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Move on to another speaker. John, your line is now open.
Good morning. When will the first store of Bed Bath and Beyond open up? And the reason I asked that, and I think that'll be one of the single most important things, is everybody I mentioned Bed Bath and Beyond to, first thing out of their mouth is, "Oh, I thought they were out of business."
Yeah.
And
It's that's an excellent question, by the way, John. We hear that all the time, and there's a lot of people who've been very critical of us for not spending enough money on marketing, allowing people to know that it's open. And right now we have one focus at the company, and that's reaching profitability here in the very near future. If you may not recall, we made a very strategic investment not too long ago into a wonderful company called Kirkland's. They trade as well on the open market. And Amy Sullivan, who's their CEO, is leading the charge on our company's re-entrance into the omni-channel world. And she has spent the last several months with her team visiting locations and really thinking about what the right assortment is and what the right floor plan is. We know that in the past, Bed Bath had thousands of stores across the country, and in our opinion, probably was oversaturated in terms of the fixed costs associated with operating those stores. It's our belief here that over the next, call it 4 or 5 months, that we identify the final location. They have the full authority of their board and of their management team to identify that location. They're in collaboration with us on that to finish the assortment. It's my goal. But I sometimes live in fantasy land. It's my goal that one of the first stores opens up in New Jersey, which is the birthplace of Bed Bath and Beyond. But we're looking at stores in markets across the country. What's been most exciting is the number of landlords who are excited for this, what I would call very, very powerful traffic driver to plazas and to malls to come back. And I think adding Bye Bye Baby is another feather in Amy's cap that drives more traffic, and it widens the moat in terms of the offering of life events that one location should have. So we should see something here shortly, but we will be relying on Kirkland's and Amy Sullivan to deliver that very concrete date and information.
thank you.
Absolutely. I'm going to open it up. Elen, I think I said that right. EYLEEN.
Good morning, Marcus. How are you?
Doing well, thank you.
Awesome. I just had a couple of questions. The first, you said you bought assets, the Bye Bye Baby asset from Dream on Me. However, from what I understood, it was the IP, and originally it was shared. Are you sharing this IP with anyone?
This IP is going to be wholly owned. Today, Dream on Me wholly owns the assets. The assets include the website, the domains, the databases. So Dream on Me owns 100% of the Bye Bye Baby assets today. They own that inside of the BBBY acquisition company. Our company is buying 100% of the assets. It is not shared with anybody else. There is no fee to pay anybody else, and nobody else has any rights to those assets.
Okay. Also, so there's no other partnership internally with BBBY acquisition?
BBBY Acquisition Co. is the seller of the assets to us. Dream on Me owns BBBY Acquisition Company. When we pay our $5 million and they wind down their business here in the next several months, that entity will no longer possess that name, and those assets will be under BYON's control.
Also, is this just for the U.S. or is it for Canada as well?
It's global rights to Bye Bye Baby.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am. Sir, a billion, I believe that is your name, has been opened up. Your line is open.
Hey, good morning, Marcus. First of all, congratulations to you and the team. This is really exciting news. Wondered if you could talk a little bit more about the LifeChain and what we can expect there.
It's, as I've gotten to learn more about the work that T0 has done over the years to build the platform, I started to really think about, what are the reasons why somebody would want to set up a blockchain? And, unfortunately, my mind was definitely, moving pretty quick when I saw the terrible, terrible devastation, both in the Carolinas and Florida from the hurricanes and the fires in California, and really thinking about the necessity for people to really put everything that they have related to their most important asset in one place. It's our goal with some serious financial and tech partners, along with T0, and we haven't disclosed who those other partners are who are working on it, to develop a very simple ledger. And I used the birth of a child as the basic starting point of what that LifeChain would look like. But for me, how does a homeowner or how does a parent who's either adopting or having a child catalog all the important information that goes on, from beginning to middle to the advanced years, and what are the important, documents, and what are the important life moments, and what are the important purchases. And that doesn't mean that you can't have intangible things like pictures and memories and things like that. But I'm very much focused on what are those tangible things, from birth certificates to medical records to educational records to different life events, to exist on this very simple ledger. What's also important to all of us at BYON is that we find finance and insurance partners that can integrate. And as we're creating that digital wallet, to allow people to come in with a life insurance policy for an infant, insurance policy for a home, a college annuity investment vehicle for folks, and really building that wallet that a family can pass on from one generation to the next. We know that health records are quintessential. We know that, other important educational documents are important. But as that baby grows up, and as we, as individuals, make the most important purchase of our life, or at least for me it was, in buying our home, how can you expand into other things like that? So I think T0 is really going to come out here in the next couple of, call it month or two, with a well laid out plan of how they see that process working. I think the thing that we're most excited about is some of the partners that we have that are part of that. What's also important is the technology that drives that whole process. And so we're engaging in very serious conversations with the folks at Salesforce around their Agentforce product and how all this information can be collected, how it can be stored properly on the ledger, but more importantly, how it can be used to create triggers, how it can be used to create really important moments, so that we can remind folks, what they need when they need it. At the end of the day, let me be clear, all of these activities, whether it's the acquisition of BuyBuy, the tokenization to show the efficacy of T0 and to provide more value to our shareholders, or the building of the chain, is meant to do one thing, and that's drive profitable revenue and earnings growth, over the next several years. Okay. Bobby, I'm going to open up your line. Bobby, your line is now open. Bobby, your line is now open.
Morning, Marcus. Hey, I wanted to ask about the partnership we had with X and where we're at on the short and long form content.
So we still have our partnership with X. I put every single thing that was out there on hold with one goal in mind, and that is to get our company to profitability. We have a fantastic relationship with all of the management team there, particularly the leader of that organization, and Linda Yaccarino. But it is our belief that the principal thing that our shareholders and our sell-side analysts want to see is a return to profitability for our company. And so we'll be discussing those results in that process on our February 25th call, which was announced earlier this morning.
Thanks, Marcus.
Yes, sir. Scotty, your line has been opened up. Scotty, your line has been opened up.
Brilliant. I just wanted to say, fuck you, Mark Cahodes and T0. Have a great day.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Have a wonderful day. Okay.
Wow.
Mike, your line is opened up. Mike, your line is
Scotty,
opened up.
such a gentleman.
Hey, Marcus, something about Spaces is that it takes a second for people to actually even hear you when they sign in, just FYI.
Okay.
Just a little off topic. I know that Camping World has a large presence in California. Is the ban on RV sales in California causing any ill effects? Has it gone into place so far? And is there anything that you need from the public to help support you?
Unfortunately, I won't be answering any Camping World call questions on this particular call, but I will be happy to do a Camping World Spaces here over the next couple of weeks. But I appreciate that question. If you have any questions about Beyond or Bye Bye Baby, I'd be happy to take those today.
Okay, so as far as this new project that you're doing, do you think that the tariffs are going to be affecting any of the stores' stocking, or have you made attempts to maybe merchandise it from some of the products in the U.S., manufactured in the U.S.?
So I'm a firm believer that the tariff process is going to be a bit of a roller coaster ride here in short order, and you can see what's going to happen to the market today. As far as we're concerned, we're firm believers at Beyond of supporting American-based companies and look to really prioritize manufacturers that domicile here in the U.S. That's not really terribly new information, but it is true that throughout the home space, there are products, throughout the home and baby space, there are products that come from around the globe. And, we have seen some information over the weekend regarding any possible changes to the regulations around the de minimis law, which allows foreign companies to circumvent the tariff process by selling direct to consumers. And I think this current administration understands how to shut that loophole down in favor of American companies. And we expect to be one of those American companies that benefit from it. But simply stated, we are an American-based business. We want to support American-based businesses. We're here in the USA, but we recognize that products come from around the world, and we'll be very thoughtful in ensuring that we navigate properly around them. Thanks for that question, by the way. Sean, your line is opened up.
Hey, Marcus, thanks for hosting the Spaces call.
Yes, sir.
So I'm looking at this new Bye Bye Baby thing, and I'm understanding it as a baby, right? And as it goes through and grows, do you look at it as something that will eventually move off the ATS and do something like get on the primary, New York Stock Exchange, or something similar?
Well, I don't necessarily see that. I mean, we're on the New York Stock Exchange as Beyond, and we provide a great platform and great liquidity for people to get in and out of the stock based on what they see, hear, like, and don't like. What we wanted to do was demonstrate the efficacy of one of our largest investments in the history of our company, which is in T0. And our ownership stake is such that the proof point and the green shoots that we believe it has shown in the past and will show with these types of transactions not only drive value to Beyond, but it allows people to own a piece of something that they want. And I think the education for everybody over time is, if you can liken it to a buffet where people have the choice to either buy the whole buffet, or we give them a chance to just buy one item on the buffet and buy it at a smaller price and a smaller value and enjoy the benefits that come with it. For me, the most important thing is making sure that things come with cash flow, or they at least come with an appreciating asset. That's the intent. But I don't see anything really changing in the short term, but never say never. But I don't see anything changing in the short term other than the partial tokenization of the intellectual property that we're purchasing.
Okay, thanks, and good luck.
Thank you. Believe you've been added as a speaker, sir, or ma'am. Not sure. Believe.
Hey, Marcus, can you hear me on your end?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I can't talk about what I want to talk about. So I know you won't answer. So I just want to tell you I appreciate your stance with the issue with the flag. I know it's off topic, but that means a lot to me, and I appreciate your commitment to American companies, and I just want to say keep up the good work.
Thank you. I will address the flag, just as it relates to all the companies that I'm involved in. It's really important to us that, we support what's happening here in this country and that we, take our time to really invest in what's happening here in the American worker. And so at BYON, I know that Dave Nielsen is working feverishly with the merchant team to continue to support those American-based companies. We know that's obviously where we need to be as a society from our perspective. Michael, your line has been opened. Michael, your line has been opened.
Just circling back around, Marcus, there's about a 7-second delay when you bring somebody up before they'll be able to hear you.
Thanks, Mike. Said that.
Yeah, I just had a question about the tokenization of the stock. Now, is that going to change anything with short sellers?
We're not tokenizing the stock. We're tokenizing, at least our goal is to tokenize the intellectual property of Bye Bye Baby and assign a revenue share model to the token holder on a pro rata basis based on the royalty that'll be generated, the revenue share that'll be generated from the overall piece.
So will this be similar to how you did it with Overstock, how they received that kind of dividend?
I can't speak to the process that was done in the past. What I do know is that T0 will be handling the tokenization. And just as a reminder, this is an SEC regulated process. And one of the benefits that T0 has that only one other company in the country has is the special purpose broker dealer license. And so David Goon and his team and their legal team will be driving the entire process around what that needs to look like. It's compliance with all the regulatory processes that happen there, all the disclosures that are associated with them, to ensure that the adoption of these kinds of concepts are also protective for consumers.
Gotcha. Perfect.
Thank you.
That's all I have.
Yes, sir. Bubby, your line has been opened up.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
I have a question about what are the tax implications that are going to be? Do you have any understanding of what they may look to be like?
Tax implications regarding what, sir?
For the T0 and the fundraising, if you own some of those tokens and you go to get paid out, what would be the tax implications? Do you have any understanding of what that looks like?
I'm not quite sure I understand your question, but at this point, I don't really think there's any tax implications to us acquiring the Bye Bye Baby asset. But be happy to research that more, but I can't think of any tax implications related to this specific process.
Okay, appreciate it.
Thank you. O'Keefe, your line is opened up.
Hey, Marcus, thanks for doing this. Just a question. Have you talked to any institutions on their ability to hold a tokenized asset on T0? I just wonder from like a regulatory or compliance standpoint if it is possible for them to.
You know what? I have not specifically, obviously, because this news is fresh. And so we haven't shared this news with anybody other than the developmental partners that are working on the process. And I would imagine that David Goon will be really helpful in educating all of us on, who can and who cannot. And I would assume that in a lot of cases, the institutions have their own charter of what they're permitted to do and not do. And so I'm not sure that we would be the right person to gatekeep someone's ability to hold or not hold that asset.
Makes sense. Thanks.
Yep. Okay. Let me open up another one. Bradley. Go ahead, Bradley.
Yeah, thanks for doing this, Marcus. I just had a couple of follow-up questions on the token and T0 from your perspective. From a practical perspective, first of all, you think the deal is going to close the end of March, I think you said. So should we expect in the second quarter for this dividend or token, as you describe it, to be issued to BYON shareholders?
The goal is to close on or before March 25th. I don't want to dictate the timeline that David and the team believe are required to make sure that it's compliant with all the regulatory processes. I think the number one thing that has to happen here is the avoidance of any footfalls. But I have been blown away by David and his general counsel, Alan's perspective and knowledge regarding this entire process. And I've been blown away about how much, quite frankly, foundational work has been done. For me, in being, a big believer in what T0's possibilities are, this was really important for our company to prove out the efficacy of it and to establish a true green shoot where we can see two different types of transactions. And that's why, we elected to go with two different types of tranches. Tranche one being a dividend issued to current holders of BYON as of a certain record date, who would enjoy that digital dividend, who would enjoy the rev share that would come with that digital dividend, who would enjoy a separate class of loyalty that would give them some other benefits. But I also wanted to see us take that same asset, understand the value of 100%, which is 5 million, isolate a percentage of that 100%, whether that's 10 or 20%, whatever that math may be, and offer that token in the open market. And the number one, I think, goal in that process is ensuring that it's clean, it's clear, it's relatable, it's affordable, and it has assets and cash flow that support them. So I would
and that's my second, Marcus, that's my second question to you. Just from your perspective, I know this in the end is up to David Goon and his team, but I guess, does that mean every BYON shareholder who gets this dividend would have to open an account with T0 directly? And then secondly, for the second tranche, I'm always, as a T0P holder and someone who watches T0 closely, there's not a lot of adoption yet or exposure to the general public. So these tokens they've had, which may be successful from raising money, are very illiquid. From your perspective, does that one day get opened up to other places to own and trade this, or is it always going to be directly through T0?
I think initially it starts at T0. I can't speak to whether that would expand beyond that or not. I don't want to, rely on what I would call subject matter experts who have a level of sophistication around what's possible or not possible. But widespread adoption and transaction volume, and seeing that transaction volume is really, really important to us at BYON. Establishing a token for something that doesn't trade and that doesn't have any in and out of it really defeats the purpose of it. And that's why I feel strongly around, the necessity to have that token either be an appreciating asset, something that people want to get in and out of all the time and they can see the real world asset, or a real world asset with cash flow so that people can look at the yield associated with it. And for me, right, establishing a yield is important. We've been looking at a way to even take, property, real hard property that has operations on it, and figure out a way to tokenize that. And until the point comes where tokenization, in my opinion, is more widely spread and adopted and embraces this idea around cash flow on a quarterly basis or on a monthly basis or on an annual basis, whatever is the appropriate, cadence, you're going to struggle to see adoption. And I think that we believe at BYON that whether it's, what T0 is doing or what other companies are doing, that ease of understanding, cash flow associated with it, ease of getting in and out of it are quintessential to its success.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Mike, I opened up your line, Mike ARL. I don't see the balance of your name. I apologize. You have a cute dog on your picture. Eric P., your line has been opened up. Eric P., I have opened up your line.
Marcus, good morning. Thanks for taking my questions.
Absolutely.
Firstly, you said that it's up to David Goon and his team in terms of timing on this. Should we expect a much bigger update on the timing February 25th on the next BYON earnings call?
You should expect a much more robust earning on February 25th. And just want to clean something up. It's not exclusively up to David. What's important to me and important to the rest of the team is that we follow the proper protocols and we do things that really line up with the regulatory process to ensure that we're compliant with the SEC, that the holders understand what they're getting, that the disclosures are right. So those things are really, really important.
And on the secondary offering that will be done in the future at some time, the percentage you said is unclear. Is the $5 million number what you're going to be using? Or now that BYON is the partner in that asset, now with the largest shareholder at that point, it's obviously worth a lot more than the $5 million, in my opinion. So is there going to be an analysis done to see what the enterprise value should be treated at in that secondary?
Yeah, we believe that we got a very favorable transaction. If you go back and you look at what Bye Bye Baby was valued at maybe 2.5 years ago, and then you go back and you look at what Dream On Me paid for the asset, we believe we got a very favorable deal. But we're also believers that the favorable deal that we've secured is an asset of the company. And the current holders will enjoy their pro rata share at that value. And the offering, while it will be small, will also be done at that $5 million valuation, marking an asset up just because we were, solid in securing a good value, in our opinion, in this moment, doesn't give us the right to mark it up. And what I want to see happen is I want to see those tokens trade, and I want to see the value of that go up over time. And if you can establish everybody starting from the same elevator, you give yourself a real shot at that.
So should we assume that both the dividend and the secondary will be done very close together in time?
That would be my hope, but I don't know how different the regulatory process may create space between those. But even if that space is a little longer than all of us would like, the structure in terms of what the holder would receive and the benefits they would receive through the membership would not be different. So timing may be different, but the value proposition should not be different.
Okay, and then lastly, somebody else brought this up previously. Do all BYON shareholders have to open up an account on T0 to receive the dividend? And if so, is there an estimate to how many new account openings there will be on T0, which will obviously help with liquidity overall on that platform?
Yes, it is our expectation that to receive the potential digital dividend solely related to the Bye Bye Baby intellectual property, you would need to open up a T0 account. The answer is yes.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to take one more before we have to move on. Judge? Judge?
Good morning, Marcus. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Thanks for having me. This is the first part. I've asked a question. If you can't answer it, I understand. Thanks for having me today also.
Yes, sir.
Bye Bye Baby's been mentioned as collateral in the reorganization. Is there anything you know about that portion of the company?
Bye Bye Baby, the mark itself, the assets associated with it, which include the website, the global rights to it, the database that goes with it, is today 100% owned by Dream On Me, and on or before March 25th will be 100% owned by BYON. It is not used as collateral in any other transaction. Nobody else has any rights to that collateral. Nobody has any rights to anything related to the Bye Bye Baby global IP, its website, its database, its marks, or any of the content affiliated with it.
Perfect. Thank you, Marcus. That made it very clear for a lot of us out here in the community that's followed the company. So I appreciate your time this morning and clarifying that.
Absolutely. Thank you, everybody, for having joined me on this call today. We look forward to February 25th, where we'll update everybody on our fourth quarter results. Take care. Bye-bye.
All right. I'm going to pull up that press release for any of y'all that were late joining in, and we'll look at that. Let me get rid of Clint here. Hey, good morning. Happy Monday. Let's pull up the press. To recap what Marcus Lemonis was going over on BYON. I don't own any BYON, but I've been following this whole saga, and I do like Marcus. I got to meet him many years ago when he was here in Texas. He's, I think, a good person, a nice guy, smart businessman. BYON has been struggling, but the announcement today is that for $5 million, BYON is acquiring the, what is the word here? The global rights to the Bye Bye Baby brand from Dream on Me, which bought those rights in the Bed Bath & Beyond bankruptcy. And Dream on Me, you know, they had a few locations, they had a digital presence. They pulled the plug not too long ago on the physical locations and said, yeah, not for us. Marcus is picking it up, and he's going to reunite the Bye Bye Baby brand with Bed Bath & Beyond brand, which he owns. Again, Bed Bath & Beyond is bankrupt. There's going to be no recovery, in my opinion, for those shareholders. I don't think Ryan Cohen's involved. Carl Icahn, no, that is done. It's just dragging on a little bit, the bankruptcy of Bed Bath & Beyond, because they have some lawsuits that they're trying to get recoveries from to pay off the debt holders. And that'll wind down, you know, over the next year or two. This is something different. Beyond is buying now Bed Bath & Beyond. And Marcus said that sometime in March that should be complete. The other thing that he announced today, he's kind of, I can see his frustration with his price action on his stock, and he has kind of, I think, mentally got on board with these shorts or naked shorts. I don't know what he's thinking. I haven't talked to him, but he's been exploring this idea of, could a digital dividend on T0 do anything to help him? Yeah, I mean, what's the harm in trying? I guess. I mean, from his perspective, I'm not going to go tell you guys pile in to BYON because a digital dividend is going to squeeze out all the shorts. I don't know. Like we were saying in the chat here over the last hour, really, you know, every single company that's tried to do anything has failed except for Overstock. But I am very interested in seeing if it ever works. So that's why I've been following along on this. Item number 2 here, BYON is announcing that they are exploring 2 different digital dividends. One would just be a digital dividend available to current shareholders of the stock. And will it have any value? I don't know. But that, I think, is the short killer. Like, oh, we're going to issue a dividend, but if you're short, how do you can't issue a digital dividend to the person that you borrowed the shares from. The second, so we'll see how that works. I don't know. See how it works out. The second dividend is, it says here, going to provide a revenue share on the omni-channel revenue generated by Bye Bye Baby. So we'll need to read up more on that. Marcus talked about it a little bit. But that one, clearly might have some value if it's providing a revenue share. Along with, it says loyalty benefits across the BYON platform. So, I mean, that's an interesting use case. And so I'll be keeping up on the news on this. I've been following it quietly every day. Follow the Bed Bath & Beyond stuff. I follow Beyond. The price has just been getting wrecked too much for me to jump in on Beyond. Let's look at their long-term price action here. $39 down to $8. Go back even more from $110 back in 2021. So yeah, they've every time it goes down, I'm like, if I want to take a little nibble, I guess $4 wouldn't have been bad. It was just a month ago. Could have bought it for $4. I probably should have. Yeah, Anya, he owns Camping World. He's having a battle right now. If you haven't watched, I think, is it in North Carolina? He's got these massive United States flags. And one of the city governments said, hey, that flag does not meet code. It's too big. And he's like, I'm not taking it down. You can fine me daily. Send me those fines. I will fight you in court. That's going on. And let's see, we can get rid of this other screen here too. Let me get rid of this. That's going on. And Marcus also, Anya, he had a TV show called The Profit, where he would invest in small businesses and help them recover or not. And I think he has a new show coming out as well. All right, let's look at some. So that's all I'm going to say about Beyond. Maybe, if you're interested in tokenization of stocks, or it's not a tokenization of the stock, it's a tokenized dividend. If you're interested in that, start following the news on Beyond, and I will probably let y'all know if anything interesting develops on that. And maybe I'll do a quick video on it here today. All right, let's look at some other tickers now that the market is open. Ding, ding, ding. AMC at 302, GME at 2602, Tesla down 4% at 386, NVIDIA 114, and let's look at MSTR and some cryptos. MSTR is down almost 6% at 315. Let's zoom out. 315 down from its high of 543. On the crypto front, USD BTC. Type in the wrong ticker. Oh, BTC USD. 96,000. They had a pretty decent recovery from the sell-off overnight. 91,000. Boy, that got scary, didn't it? BTC USD. Let's put it up on the bigger chart here. Look at that. Whew. I almost didn't want to go to sleep last night, guys. All this meltdown going on. Hopefully, these world leaders get together and sort all this stuff out. Market is not exactly happy with what's going on here. The other thing that I want to bring up is let's look at earnings. This, besides the Trump tariff stuff we got going on, this is a big earnings week. Let's see what we got here. Move to. After the market closed today, we got Palantir. We got Clorox. Tomorrow we got PayPal, Spotify, Pfizer, PepsiCo, Merck, Estee Lauder, Apollo before the bell. After close, AMD, Alphabet, Chipotle, Electronic Arts, Prudential, Juniper Networks. Wednesday, before the market, Uber, Walt Disney, Toyota, Johnson Controls. After the market, Wednesday, Ford, Qualcomm, ARM, O'Reilly, Aflac, Align. Thursday, Lilly, Roblox, Conoco, Peloton, Hershey, Bristol Myers Squibb, Yum Brands. After the market, Thursday, Amazon, Affirm, Pinterest. You guys can see, I mean, just pay attention. This, not only do you have the tariff stuff, executives in these calls are likely to be mentioning the potential impact of tariffs. If they don't, then I'd be wondering why not. They got to be thinking about this. So we'll have earnings from all these companies, and really what you should be listening to from them is their outlook for 2025 and any little clues that they give you about what they think about the tariffs. All of that could drive their tickers, related tickers in their industries, and the markets. So predicting what is going to happen is much more than just looking at a chart and trying to do TA. You got to think about government actions. You got to think about what all of these big players are saying is going to happen. Can't ever just look at one ticker like GameStop and say, well, here's what's going to happen because the ticker's reaching a local point of support. Anything here, the tariffs, these other companies could screw up the whole market. So that is what I will be watching. AMC Kitty Cowboy, good morning to you. Matt says, this feels like another retail trap to get people into another company with crap financials to only pull the rug on everyone. For BYON, right? It has felt like that on every other ticker, Matt, that has tried it, right? You mentioned GTII earlier, the dividend that nobody ever got. Good Lord, man. I want to just reach out and, I try and extend my hand to these people and tell them you're going to get fucked over, but they don't want help. No, Tony, shut up. You're a shill. You just want us to lose. No, you're going to lose. I'm trying to help you. But they never learn, do they? They only learn the hard way, Matt. By the painful process of experience. You can't invest in a no revenue company like GTII and expect to come out a winner. Just not going to happen. Always look at the financials. I don't care what William and Ham are telling you. You can't outrun the financials. You know that saying they have, you can't out-train a bad diet? GTII was a bad diet. Doesn't matter how much money investors throw at it, you're not going to. All I can do is try and be the voice of reason. People can hate me for it all they want. I really do hate seeing people lose money in these tickers, and I'll keep on adding. I'm not the guy to go on Twitter and YouTube 50 times a day and trash talk these people or these tickers. I'll just put my thoughts out there 2, 3, 4 times a year. And boy, man, the hate that comes just from doing that, it's incredible. But such is life. People don't like being helped. They don't like contemplating that maybe they got hoodwinked. That would mean having to admit that they were wrong. It's never too late to change your trading strategy, but they will write it to zero anyways, because Ham told them there's billions of naked shorts and they're scared. Makes me sad, honestly, does. People get over and over and over. All right, let's see what other headlines. But Beyond, is Beyond one of those? I don't know. They're struggling. That's all I'm going to say. I actually have a lot of faith in Marcus, but not enough for me to jump in and buy it yet. We will have to see what happens. You know, I'm not going to go say pile in because of a T0 token. I'm going to be looking at the financials. I want to see a turnaround on the financials at Beyond. All right. U.S. markets obviously in the red. Europe also down 1.5%, 2%. Asia closed down pretty bad. Oil up. Gold, man. For any of y'all that have been with me since 2021, July of 2021 when we started this whole journey together, you guys were asking me, Tony, should I buy gold? I said I like to buy gold when it's at a dip. Oh, it freaking never dipped. Any of y'all that were insistent in buying gold in 2021, 2022, 2023, you were right. You were more right than me. Because I'm still waiting. Still waiting for my opportunity to buy in cheap. Never came. Never came, did it? 28.56. I see all the Hycroft people are real excited. But, I mean, it is legitimate that if gold and silver prices keep going up, the value of the Hycroft mine, if they ever get into mining, it makes the economics of mining much more palatable, much more viable. But as you guys know, if you've been following me for years, I've been telling you, too soon for me to invest in Hycroft because they're not mining. There's no revenue there. I'm not going to invest in a no revenue, uncertain outcome. When they give us the plan, when they're done with their drilling and exploration, and they have a plan with the economics and a timeline of when they will start mining and what it's going to cost to build out the new facilities that they're going to need, they're going to have a major investment needed, then I might consider it. I need to see the economics. Maybe if it's economically viable, they sell out to a bigger partner that is more, funded. That is a possibility. And maybe I'll miss the play because that announcement could come, anytime from when they announce their plan. When they announce their plan next year, I'm thinking 2 years from then till they get into mining. At any point between that, they could sell the company to a bigger partner. And, if you've been speculating and hoping that happens, you might, down here in these low prices on Hycroft, you might get a return. I don't know. I'm on the fence about Hycroft. I don't hate it. I understand the timeline. It's a 7-year timeline. That was communicated to us from Jump Street. Everybody that has been irrationally hopeful or irrationally negative did not ever understand the timeline. Timeline that was clearly communicated. 7 years. I think that's probably what you're looking at, and we're 3 years into it. So I will judge Hycroft after 7 years. I'll say it failed or bad. They did it. We'll find out. That's where I'm at. I'm just middle of the road. Keep up with it and hope for the best. But I do not have an investment. Too speculative for me. Let's see. Trump approves of the Fed's decisions to hold interest rates. Putin says Europe. Oh, I saw this morning. I've been up since about 4 or 5 this morning. Now Trump is talking about tariffs on the EU with maybe working out a deal with the UK. We're not going to tariff our good buddies over in the UK. Good Lord, let's just tariff the world. Other interesting news is, Putin says Europe will stand at the feet of the master as Trump tariffs alarm allies. I think that's talking about this tariffs on the EU that are being talked about now. The other interesting headline that I shared earlier this morning was something about movies where maybe I can just pull it up here. Trump's tariffs threaten Hollywood production, potentially. Boy, these bad news guys never miss an opportunity to rattle our cages, do they? Now, this is not news. This is rabble-rousing. Here's what could happen, guys. Run and panic. I mean, maybe it could happen, but maybe it couldn't. Trump import tariffs could threaten a long-standing relationship between Hollywood and Canada. Some fear that a trade war with Canada could cause Canada to retaliate, potentially rescinding tax credits for film productions or closing stages to U.S. studios altogether. Now, see how they write that? Potentially. This hasn't been announced. But they don't waste time rushing out the headline, do they? Why? Why do you do that? CNBC, Sarah Whitten. Concerns are growing that higher tariffs across sectors could affect moviegoers' wallets. How? Right. Maybe she explains how. Okay, here. Trump's tariffs could put pressure on production budgets, according to industry insiders, particularly for film. Who's talking to these industry insiders about impact of tariffs? I'm just wondering. Particularly for films and television shows that import certain textiles for costuming or unique construction materials, such as specialty glass from outside the U.S. Well, I mean, it is, if you've been in the movies like me, and I know some of y'all work on sets and in the industry, you know about what it takes to build a set. It takes a lot of lumber. All of those rooms and anything that you see, it's in a warehouse. And they build up the set. When you're walking around it from the outside, you just see 2x4 walls. When you walk through the door, it's like you're in someone's house. I've been in one that was like inside a spaceship. Yeah, I was one of those stormtrooper dudes, laser guns and the fancy outfits. I don't know that. I don't remember if that was a TV show I was on or a movie. I don't know if it ever got put into production. It was a pretty cool shoot, but it's a lot of lumber to build these sets. Maybe Canadian tariffs impacts lumber prices. We'll see. And that would, I think, impact production budgets. But does that impact the box office? No. I don't. It affects the studio's cost. Suck it up, Hollywood. You're wasting money on crap films anyways. Figure out some better movies. Stop paying those actors so much. Here, they go on to say, most studios source materials local. It is rare for a LA set to bring in lumber from Canada. Well, there is your answer. So, I mean, why? Why are you running out this headline? Just fear-mongering. And yeah, this whole tariff squeezing. Oh, okay. If you want to say that tariffs are squeezing moviegoers' wallets because of everything else they're buying, all right, maybe. Depends on what percentage of tariffs affecting other countries gets passed on to the customers. That is really the unknown right now, right? Of the tariffs, 25%. What percentage of that tariff is going to be absorbed by the supplier or the U.S. company that's buying those imports? And what percentage is going to be passed on to consumers as a price increase? Because if you increase the prices too much, these companies know what happens. Americans go to a different product, maybe an American product. And it's probably what Trump wants. Wink, wink. Buy America, bitches. Buy American, ladies and gentlemen. So, yeah, I think that whole Hollywood headline thing, just a bunch of rabble-rousing right now. We'll keep an eye on that. Matt says, is BYON a profitable company? That is a good question, Matt. I don't think they are, but let's take a quick. Oh, no. No. See, every time I look at them as their price is going down, I'm like, should I buy it? It's getting really cheap. And then I bring up this chart and I'm like, no, not yet. Too early, Tony. You're already speculating in enough money-losing companies. You don't need to add one more. Let's focus on finding profitable companies that are just beat up. I mean, there is speculative trade here. There is a trade here for somebody that believes BYON is going to turn around. Just not for me. Thanks. Got enough that I'm already watching. Don't need this one right. Harold, good morning. Jeffrey, what's up? Jeffrey Cardoza, GME starting to give a pullback. What are you thinking, Jeffrey? They're starting to give up, or they're starting to run up? Been kind of all over. It looks like the worst of what the markets were going to do at market open anyways has already happened. Everything's down, 2 to 6%, depending on what the company is. Let's pull up MSTR one more time. Bitcoin recovery, I like to see that. MSTR, yeah, just everything's sitting around this 6% pullback range. Hang on one second. All right, sorry about that. SoFi is getting beat up. Nate, yeah, I need to do a update video for you guys on SoFi. It did have a good run up there for a while. Let's see how much it pulled back. 18 bucks back down to 15. For me, I'd get back in. I sold on this run up. I did not get. For anyone who says, Tony always says he sells at the top. Oh, I don't say that. I tell you when I sell. Sometimes it's close to the top. It was not close to the top for SoFi. I sold it way too early. I had bought at $6.49. I sold it $10.25, and it went up another $8. Don't always time the top. But I do like SoFi. It got a little pricey there for me. So I'm watching it every few weeks, every quarter, and waiting for a little pullback. So if we get a little market crash here and SoFi just, nothing relative to it, if it gets a strong pullback, I might consider and giving it another swing. Nate says the studios just get their lumber from the lumber yard. I bet they do, Nate. TKG Games says, thank God for the buying opportunities. That is, a good way to think about it, especially if you have plenty of dry powder on the side. There are going to be some buying opportunities from a market overreaction or reaction. I don't know if it's an overreaction. Time will tell. There will be some buying opportunities, and some of y'all, hopefully counting myself in that, will be able to time the bottom. We'll see. Kitty Cowboy says he's looking at Nokia. Financials look good to me. Let's pull Nokia up. It's NOK, right? Net income, that is positive. I wanted to look at revenue trend. Revenue trend is moving up again. Good. Cash, 8.2 billion. Can't complain about that. Current assets, 18 billion. Current liabilities, 11. Good working capital. Current assets are higher than current liabilities. Total assets, 39 billion. Total liabilities, 18 billion. Yeah. Good balance sheet. Looks pretty solid. Kitty Cowboy. Positive operating cash flow. Positive free cash flow. I'm not going to spend any more time than these 60 seconds looking at it, but there's nothing that screams yellow flag to me. You need to do the work to see what you think about their future from here. Let's see what the analysts say. Average price target, 662. That'd be a what? 45% move up. Bad if they pull it off. And so maybe that's one y'all should look at. You got a profitable company with a solid balance sheet and a 45% increase on price target. What's not to like? I'd much rather see y'all talking about those. Kitty Cowboy, you get the Gold Star Award. I'd much rather see y'all asking me about these type of tickers than one that we pull up and has no history of profits or no revenue and an upside down balance sheet. These are the gems that you need to discover and then go investigate to see if you're on board with their growth plan. It'd be a good one. I'm going to add it to my DD list. That website is stockanalysis.com. Jim says, everyone wigging out over tariffs and markets are down 1%. I mean, if all we get is a 1% sell-off, Jim, that's not bad. The thing is, how many days or weeks is this going to go on, and what are executives going to start saying about it? I'm going to be listening to some of these earnings calls. I might have some after hours live streams with you guys to listen to select earnings calls. I'm not going to be live streaming all day this morning. I've got some video topics I want to get out. But I did want to, I was going to listen to that BYON call anyways. I thought, hey, let's do it live. Give everybody a chance to hear what Marcus has going on over at BYON. And then hang out with you guys for a little bit this morning. Yeah, 2 websites, that 4-leaf clover. 2 websites that I would recommend to you guys. Stockanalysis.com. It's free. You can pay for a premium membership or some additional features. And then another one that I use almost every day is Dilution Tracker. Now that one is not free, and it's got a cost associated with it. But for anybody in my Discord, I pay for that. If you want to see the dilution tracker on any ticker, just ask me in the Discord, in the daily stock chat. That's part of the benefits. All of the tools that I pay for are yours for free. All you got to do is ask. And the couple dollars that the Discord that I charge are to offset amongst all of us for cost sharing price of all these tools. There's no reason for 100 of us to pay $70 a month for something. But dilution tracker, man, it's even better than Ortex. Mullen. Ortex is still, I was having a chat on Twitter with Cal over at Financial Journey because he was making videos saying, look at Ortex, they're saying Mullen's a squeeze candidate, the float's 8 million and the short interest is sky high. Was like, Cal, look at dilution tracker. Look at even Mullen's most recent filing. I don't care what Ortex is saying, another $75 a month tool. They are bullshit. Ortex is bullshit. The float on Mullen is over 60 million shares. They've been pouring shares into the market like it's going out of style in the last 30 days. Why anybody would talk about Mullen or tell you that it's a squeeze play is beyond me. They are flooding the market with shares because they have no cash. They've got a lawsuit they need to settle. They got factories to pay for. They got David Michery's, Ferrari and second home down in Cancun to pay for. Just kidding. They got his bonuses to pay for. The ones he comes up with, all the new ones every month. Don't pay for Ortex. But if you're going to pay for anything, pay for a dilution tracker. But the smarter play would be join the Discord. Just say, hey, Tony, what's dilution tracker say about this ticker? And I'll drop it in there. Blazin', what's up, buddy? And the other thing that I like about dilution tracker, if I send them a question or a tip, hey, this company just dropped a filing. They're pretty good about updating every single filing on every company. The updated share count way before even your brokers update share counts. Dilution tracker is already on it. If I send them a note, they will answer me back the same day. I love that. Yeah, Blazin, I came on this morning because BYON announced that they're buying Bye Bye Baby, and they were having a space call to go over the details, and they announced potentially 2 dividends on T0. Something to keep up with, something that I'm interested in, although I'm not invested in the ticker. AMC has now, we're going to wrap up here in a couple minutes, but I see that AMC is almost recovered here in the first hour, back to 310. We're at 310. GameStop is down 3% at 26. Tesla still bleeding off, down almost 7%. Nvidia down 5%. Bitcoin, good recovery on Bitcoin, back up to almost 97. That's good to see. And MSTR, our final ticker that we're going to look at this morning, down 5%. I'm surprised MSTR is down as Bitcoin is recovering. Smooth Operator, good morning, buddy. We're going to go ahead and close up the Market Open live stream. I want to start doing some more of these with you guys on a regular basis. And maybe, you know, if I have time today when the market closes, is today the day that we have Palantir? Yeah. Anybody invested in Palantir? Are y'all interested in listening to the Palantir call and hanging out after market close? I guess let's see how the market day goes today in the news cycle about tariffs. I'll be in the Discord the rest of the day. I'm going to be here trading or looking into tickers to buy any dips. Someone, my good friend Mike the Marine said, he was calling me out because a couple years ago I made. Have you guys ever heard that line from the movie? It was Matthew McConaughey, and they were sitting at the table, and he said, "How many times a day do you jerk off, son?" Once. He's like, "Once a day? That's rookie numbers. You need to pump those numbers up." I made a sarcastic / witty / comedy post about someone had talked about a price target for AMC. You guys know, if you've listened to me over the last 4 years, I do not give you price targets for AMC. It's not part of my talking points. I think it is irresponsible to talk price targets or dates. Whatever happens, happens. I was interested in a short squeeze in June. I played that. I sold my call options into that run up. I started my channel in 2021 because I was mad at Matt and Trey for encouraging people to keep buying call options as I'm selling mine. Made a lot of money then. Bought some additional shares after it came down and hoped we would get a second run up, but that didn't materialize. And then market crapped out. And then AMC ran out of cash and they had to do ape. So we had to pivot how we look at AMC. But old Mike the Marine saying, I don't understand how Tony can sit there all day. How's he make money? Must be on disability. Come on, fool. Come on, fools. Ain't on no disability. I'm out there running, sprinting, about to be back in the gym. Unfortunately, last year I hurt my back in the gym, so I had to take a little break. But we're good to go. 2025. I have 4 other businesses. Y'all should know the answer to that. You keep on doxing them. Come on. So I have passive income. And my wife has a job as well. And more importantly, we're sitting here trading, investing. And if I need to pull money out, pay some bills, I pull money out. It's not hard. Mike, you just need to be willing to what? Have an exit plan and sell when you're in the green. Don't hold everything into the red. When you buy something, know where you're going to get out. And if it's not going your way, get the fuck out. And if you don't like the management, why are you holding? I have no position in AMC right now. I'm waiting for 3 major risk factors to be resolved. When I get answers to those risks, I might come back in. I will still go see movies though, because I like movies. If you think me posting movies reviews is being a shill, well, yeah, jump in a lake. Tough titties. I like movies, always have, always will. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to call it here. Be careful out there today. If you got questions, hit me up in the Discord. And we will see ya probably after the market close.